say legends are born, ready to go the distance, and naturally fearless. The truth is, legends are not born. They are made through sheer determination and grit. Would you dare to stand up for yourself? To tell the world your story? Would you dare to fight for your vision and make a difference? Would you dare to claim greatness and believe in the impossible? This is for those who dare. Dare to be different. Dare to be defiant. Dare to be a legend. Join the Republic.
The odds were stacked against us. Our enemies were closing in. We were overwhelmed. Hope was a distant memory, and defeat seemed inevitable. But through conflict, we find our strength. In defiance of convention, limits are broken. Our courage can't be suppressed. We pledge victory. We strive for glory. We are unstoppable. We are fearless. We are the Republic of Gamers.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Republic of Gamers. My name is Steve, and today I have a very special build guide. This is going to be an all AMD, all ROG build on the brand new X570 platform. Now, I designed this build to be a hybrid between gaming and productivity, specifically video editing. So I've made all of my decisions about all the components accordingly. So let's unbox these and we'll get started. Alright, so for the CPU, I chose the 3900X. You could probably get away with a 3800X, but in my opinion, the money is more than worth it for the extra cores. Yeah, it's true in purely gaming scenarios, the blue team has a slight frames per second lead. But if we're looking at a hybrid build like this one, it's totally worth it to go with AMD for the extra price to performance in multi-threaded workloads. So the 3900X is the best choice for this build. The motherboard at the heart of this build is the Crosshair 8 Hero. This board is one that we chose for a couple of key reasons. It's something that's a bit more premium than our mainstream boards, such as the Strix E. There's some things it brings to the table that I'm really interested in for this hybrid build specifically. The first is I/O and connectivity. So when we're doing a professional build for productivity, we're gonna be plugging in a ton of peripherals. So having a bunch of USB ports of the latest generation on the back of the motherboard is really helpful just for convenience. Additionally, the Crosshair Hero board has a 2.5G Ethernet port, and I'm actually planning to test out a NAS system that also leverages 2.5G, so this is really going to come in handy for me. The Hero also has a beefed up power design compared to our mainstream boards, including an 8-phase VRM and teamed 60 amp power stages. Now, this will definitely handle the 3900X with ease, and it's also well prepared for any other CPUs AMD will launch on this platform in the future. For the graphics card, I chose the ROG Strix RX 5700 XT. This card is purpose-built for 1440p gaming, which is exactly what I want this build to achieve. Now, it's important to note that if you're going to be going for 4K gaming, if that's your intention, or if you're going to be doing some heavy rendering, like GPU-based rendering with your rig, you may need to invest in a different graphics card. Just like your GPU choice, your monitor choice is going to depend on exactly what you need to do with the build. Personally, I would recommend a 27-inch 1440p 144Hz gaming display with FreeSync. However, if you are going to be editing 4K video, you will obviously need a 4K monitor. Likewise, if you want to game in 4K, you'll also need a 4K display. So keep that in mind. I will leave a few different options for you down in the description below. In terms of RAM, I went with a 3600 MHz CL16 kit, as this is what AMD has officially recommended as the sweet spot for 3rd gen Ryzen CPUs. Our friends at G.Skill were kind enough to send over some of their Trident Z Neo RAM, so those are the kits I will be using. You could go with 16 or 32 gigabytes, whatever is going to work for your specific workflow. I would lean more towards 32 gigabytes for this specific build. It's time to talk about storage. PCIe Gen 4 is a big part of the new X570 platform, and because it's so new, we really haven't seen that many peripherals that can take advantage of the new standard yet. However, there are some M.2 drives, such as this one, that have come to the market already, and yeah, you can buy them and check them out. Now, unfortunately, what I found is that while sequential speeds, read and write, are really good with the new drives, they are better than the previous generation, the random read-write performance is not necessarily better. What that means is if you're doing gaming or normal usage of Windows, you're not really going to see any benefits moving from PCIe Gen 3 to PCIe Gen 4. However, if you are moving large video files around like I will be, well, I'm gonna test out the drive and see how it works. But for you guys at home, I would probably recommend waiting a bit to see what creative solutions vendors can come up with in the near future for PCIe Gen 4 peripherals. Okay guys, so there are actually a lot more components that go into the build, and I just frankly do not have time to go through and explain why I chose each and every component today. However, what I will do is I will leave a full build list of all the components I use in this rig down in the description below, so you guys can check out which components I use and also find out where to buy them. If you have any questions about why I chose specific items, just leave me a question in the comments and I will do my best to get back to you. Now, before we get started, there are a few other things you're going to need. You'll want a screwdriver, and you also will want a place to store and organize screws as you take things apart and assemble them. I like to use something like this. You could use a magnetic bowl. Either of those would be just fine. If you're going to install Windows, I will have a link in the description on where to go to create a boot media device on a USB stick. Additionally, you should download your GPU and motherboard chipset drivers ahead of time. I definitely would recommend doing that. You probably don't need to worry about your peripherals, but for the motherboard and the graphics card specifically, I would definitely download those drivers ahead of time, have them ready on an external drive. Finally, if you aren't following this build exactly, if you're swapping out some of the components, I definitely recommend you do some thorough checking about compatibility ahead of time. I've done all that for you, so if you're following the build exactly, you don't need to worry about this. But if you're switching out something like the motherboard or you're using a different chassis, you may run into some compatibility issues. So it's definitely worthwhile to research ahead of time. You know, what's the RAM clearance like? How many fan headers do I have on the motherboard? All of these can come into play. Now, without further ado, let's build this rig up. I've already done the preliminary testing and the components work, so let's go ahead and put the build together. Now, I'm not gonna talk too much for this next section. I'm just gonna show you guys how to do everything. If I don't cover something in enough detail, just leave your question in the comment section and I will do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. Hope you guys enjoy the build. Alright guys, that is the build guide that I have for you today. I left some additional information, some tips and stuff down in the description below, so do check that out. My name is Steve, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.
Hi! In this video, I want to talk to you about what makes the ROG Phone 2 special and why it will provide you with the best gaming experience possible in landscape gaming mode. ROG Phone 2 is not like other phones. It was actually designed from the ground up with landscape mode gaming in mind. That might not sound like a big deal to you, but I can assure you it was a real challenge. As you know, phones have very limited space inside, and most manufacturers struggle to fit their flagship phones with top specifications and a big enough battery. In ROG 2, we put in the craziest specifications, plus a battery that will blow the competition out of the water. On top of this, we managed to fit it with all the additional hardware needed to make it work just as well in portrait mode as in landscape mode. Now, to make this possible, we had to design ROG Phone 2 with a custom L-shaped motherboard that uses a sandwich design. This made room for the monster 6000 mAh battery, the most advanced thermal design we have ever created, a side-mounted port and a 3.5mm audio jack, large front-facing speakers, 4 microphones, and dual vibrators. But I want to tell you a little bit more about the features that makes the ROG Phone 2 the ultimate phone for landscape mode gaming. Now, one of the most common things when you're playing in landscape mode is that you're covering all the antennas with your hands. Most mainstream phones only have 1 or 2 antennas, but in ROG Phone 2, we put in a total of 4 antennas. So that gives you a much higher throughput, lower lag, and higher stability, no matter how you hold your phone. So this will give you up to 4.5 times better performance compared to other flagship phones, which might only have 1 antenna. Next, let's move on to the front of the screen. Nowadays, most phones are going towards smaller bezels, but that's not really a good choice for a gaming phone. We wanted to keep the bezels small, but still existing, and that allows us to fit it with dual front-facing speakers that will not easily get covered by your hands, and there's also much less risk of ghost touches from your palms during that intensive gaming. One of the most popular landscape features are the ultrasonic air triggers, which will give you gamepad-like shoulder buttons with the benefit of being able to control your games with 2 more fingers. Now that is a huge advantage when you're playing mobile games. With ROG Phone 2, we added 3 new features for the air trigger. The finger resting trigger, so you don't have to lift your finger between every press, sliding gesture, and dual vibration feature. Another feature that really makes a difference is the ROG Phone's side-mounted port. Now, to have cables with like charging or audio cables hanging out from either side is really uncomfortable when you're playing. So with the side-mounted port, we move those cables away, giving a much more comfortable grip and undistracted gameplay. Although the port is proprietary, it's actually fully compatible with any USB Type-C cable, making it possible for you to connect whatever accessory you want. Next, I want to mention to you about the audio experience. Now, who of you haven't had those moments when the sound from your phone just isn't good or loud enough? Well, in ROG Phone 2, we took the speakers to the next level, making it so useful that you will actually be starting to use it more and more without constantly switching to your headphones. These are big speakers with big chambers and DTS:X ultrasound processing, a combination that will give you the most impressive soundstage ever heard from a phone. You will actually be able to hear shots and footsteps coming from your left and right. And I will also say that this is the first phone where you will be able to hear some surround sound when playing video files that has multi-channel audio. Other than good sound, we wanted to make sure that you're heard loud and clear when communicating with your teammates. This is why we put in a total of 4 microphones with noise cancellation, so there's always one which is not covered by your hands. All these specs and features will give you total control and the best gaming experience when playing games in landscape mode. With that said, ROG Phone 2 is not just for the hardcore gamers. This is a flagship phone which should be considered by any user who's looking for the best overall performance with extreme smoothness and uncompromised speed. If you have purchased ROG Phone 2, then you have a phone with the fastest mobile screen currently available. The user experience in this phone is so incredibly smooth thanks to the 120Hz refresh rate. Now, some of you might think that 120Hz is only good for gaming, and that couldn't be more wrong. With a fast 120Hz screen, your entire viewing experience is going to be transformed. From navigating the system, switching between home screens, browsing the internet, or scrolling through apps. Everything's gonna be so smooth and fluid that once you get used to 120Hz, you are never going to want to go back to 60 or even 90Hz. The AMOLED display in ROG Phone 2 is not only the fastest when it comes to refresh rate, but it's also the fastest when it comes to touch latency. The low 49 millisecond touch latency will make sure that you hit your enemies before they hit you, even if you both touch the screen at the same time. This screen really is incredible in every way. It's not only the fastest when it comes to refresh rate, but it's also the most accurate one with a delta E of less than 1. This means that games, movies, and other content is gonna look exactly like its creators intended. The display does of course have HDR, which enables you to see even more details and colors in very bright and dark scenes, making the viewing experience in games, movies, and TV shows even more impressive. Now, a fun fact about ROG Phone 2 is that this is the first phone to support true 10-bit HDR. And you might think that there are other phones out there with 10-bit, but they're all actually using 8-bit plus FRC, which means that they are simulating 10-bit using only 16.7 million colors. So you see, there are really no other phones out there that can be as true to life as the ROG Phone 2 display. In this section, I'm going to show you the brand new Armory crate, which was previously known as the Game Center, but now we've added a lot of new features. So let's start it up. Now this gets me in the mood every time, but if you want to turn it off, you can easily do that in the settings. So in here we have the games library, the console, featured, and news. In the games library, we have all your games which have been added automatically if they are recognized as one by Google Play. We also have a specific set of features for every game, such as My Record, which will show you the video recordings from that games and also the screenshots. The official site will show you the site which is linked from Google Play. And we have also here the scenario profiles, which will basically let you customize pretty much everything about the game. X mode will allow you to either extend your battery life or pump up the performance if you need that little extra juice. Now you can also set the touch, display, performance, and a whole lot of other settings for every game. In the console, you can set pretty much everything which is not set for a specific game, such as which games that should start up Game Genie, all the air trigger settings which are general, fan speed, and system lighting. Now next is the featured. Here we collect all the games that have some specific support for one of ROG Phone 2's more unique features, such as the 120Hz screen, twin view, air triggers, dual vibration, and so on. In news, we're gonna have official videos such as this one, explaining features and hardware, so you learn all the ins and outs of the ROG Phone 2. And we will continuously keep updating this with more official material. So you see, Armoury Crate really is the perfect gaming portal. It got customized settings, more performance, and undistracted gameplay. So whenever you're ready to play, Armoury Crate will be ready for you. With ROG Phone 2, we're launching a brand new game controller, the ROG Kunai Gamepad. It consists out of 3 parts: the Kunai controllers, the Kunai holder, and the Kunai bumper. The bumper makes it easy to connect the Kunai controllers to your phone directly with a USB connection. So you just slide it in like this. And the benefit with using a USB connection is that it will connect every time with 0 dropouts and low latency. The bumper is also compatible with the Aeroactive Cooler 2 and also the TwinView Dock 2 accessories. Now, to map the buttons on the controller to your favorite game, all you have to do is first go into the key mapping feature, press the button that you want to assign, which will then make a hotkey appear on the screen. Just drag this hotkey to wherever you want it to trigger and redo this same process with all the buttons. Now, it's really that simple to assign your controller to the game. Now, I also want to show you how easily it is to remove the bumper. Now, first you have to look for this small ROG logo, and this is where you're gonna want to make a bend. And then you slide the phone out, so just like that. Now, to transform back to the gamepad mode, you just bring in the holder like this, slide in the controllers, and you can connect to your phone using a Bluetooth or USB-C connection. So I mean, just how awesome isn't this controller? The new Kunai. I mean, you want to buy this, right? Right? This is the new TwinView Dock 2, and it has been completely redesigned from the previous model, with a lot lighter design, better weight distribution, making it much more comfortable to use. Now, looking at the bottom here, we have a fan which blows cool air on the phone's heat vent. Going around to the lid, we have a big ROG logo with RGB lighting, same as at the front, together with the 3.5mm audio jack. Now, all of this is powered by the internal 5000 mAh battery, which is also powering the integrated screen. And this is, by the way, the same screen that we are using in ROG Phone 2, giving you that same impressive visual experience. Now, to attach your phone to the dock, first you have to slide it in like this and then down. After this, in order to lock the phone into place and activate the second screen, you have to flip this switch, which will also turn on the internal battery. Now I'm going to start up one of the TwinView supported games to show you just how awesome it is with dual screens. Now, what I noticed right away when playing this game is just how useful the secondary display is, because now I can clearly see where every turn is gonna be before it hits me, and that makes it so much easier. Another thing which I really notice now is how much lighter it is. So I would probably be able to play these games for hours without getting tired in my hands. And the weight distribution, way better. Okay, so with this secondary screen, I will be able to use any other app simultaneously with my game. Hell, I can even play 2 games at the same time if I want to. The possibilities are endless.
It was the age of gamers. It was the age of oppressors.
The satellite orbit bombing incident, also known as the Checkmate tragedy, sparked recollections of the horrible event witnessed here just 9 years ago. Are we continuing to ignore this?
It was the epoch of utopia. It was the epoch of dystopia.
Why? How can my destiny be so miserable that my born talent is a sin?
It was the winter of silence. It was the spring of uprisings.
No organization has yet come forward to claim the crimes. However, a radical group of gamers represent...
the way the government is handling these dangerous...
Do you want a life surrounded by time bombs that could be detonated at any time?
Revenge is a dish best served cold.
I have a dream that one day this republic will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all human beings are created equal.
We are unstoppable. We are all going directly to the Republic of Gamers.
Since 2006, the Republic of Gamers has devoted itself to crafting a new world for gamers. What makes a gamer? What is it that makes us unique? We embrace technology to evolve. We connect with millions of people around the world to create our own reality. A reality that revolves around our passions. We've supported this community from the very beginning. We understand you in ways others simply can't. We are by your side because we are where you are. The best players from around the world have already joined us. Will you be next?
The ROG Strix Scope is the keyboard for any FPS player. Its built-in features have been designed to give you a competitive edge in-game. It features a 1000 Hz polling rate and end key rollover, so no matter how many keys are pressed at once or how fast you press them, every input is registered in-game every time. We gave special attention to the control key when we designed this keyboard. It's the key that helps keep you alive in-game, ducking you behind cover, or steadying your hand so you can get that game-winning shot. So we've doubled the size of the left control key so it's easier to reach when you're in the heat of battle. It also has enhanced stabilization, much like the spacebar, so it gives you a more accurate and consistent feel. The function lock key helps to maximize utility by allowing you to quickly toggle between the function keys and media control keys. We've also implemented a stealth key. With function lock enabled, one push of the F12 key will mute all audio and minimize all applications running, just in case you're trying to get in some Counter-Strike practice at work. The onboard memory allows you to save up to 5 custom profiles, as well as a default profile. The scope is available with a variety of Cherry MX switches. There's red, brown, blue, black, speed silver, and silent red. Now speaking of color options, the scope has per-key RGB LED backlighting, and with the Armory 2 software, you can customize the color and lighting pattern as well as sync it with any of your other Aura Sync enabled components. Even with the lights off, the scope still has plenty of style. The dual textured case has a brushed aluminum top plate and even comes with additional silver WASD keys and a key puller for easy customization. Underneath the keyboard, we've continued the dual textured design, and we've also added a channel for cable management to help keep your desktop clean. If you have any questions or comments about the ROG Strix scope, please reach out to us on our Facebook page. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.